Good afternoon, everybody. I am working in a studio and just thought I would drop by, go live for a while, maybe answer some of your questions on the chat board. Now, I'm working in a studio right now. I'm working on things that pertain to the next legislative session. Uh, After all this coronavirus mess is finished, we have work to do. And there's no time like the present to prepare ourselves for the work ahead. Now, that being said, toward the weekend, when we do our next radio show, that will be Texas Biker Radio number 390, uh, we will we will be announcing some of the events that have been canceled by local motorcycle clubs and also the national motorcycle clubs. We'll be doing that as we go along, and so we hope this thing finishes up sooner rather than later. Here in Texas, things are shutting down drastically, and I will say one thing that it's harder to quarantine yourself. It's harder than I thought because there are things you just have to do in everyday life. Um, we see people running to the markets, and that's still going on to some extent. People are still attacking the stores. I went to a Target not long ago, and they had already taken all the bread off the shelves, water, toilet paper of all things, and it just continues. Uh, Everybody needs to relax. Uh, Costco and Sam's yesterday, when I passed by their parking lots, were a mess. Now, Costco did finally start limiting how many people can go into their store. That's a good thing. And they also started limiting how many items you can purchase of particular items that are just flying off the shelves. Uh, they are limiting those things. So we have that going on. But today, as of today, they are getting their act together. Now, the local mall has closed down. Macy's is closed down. J.C. Penney's is closed down. Just about everything is closed in there. And I suspect that they're all closed. Now, driving down one of our main drives here in Arlington, Texas, uh, there just aren't many people out. Now, a lot of the drive-throughs are open to these restaurants that are closed down, and I would suggest to everybody, uh, you frequent those places 2 or 3 times a week to give them a hand to help them stay in business, and that's what I suggest you do to help things out, to help the economy out. This is going to be a rough patch. But here in Texas, pretty soon, our temperatures are going to climb into the 80s. And then from there, it'll jump on up. So if the heat does have an effect on this virus, we should be in good shape in the weeks ahead. Now, we have politicians that are busy and news media that are actually on the sidelines cheering for this stuff. And if you're like me, I've just about basically turned off the news, with the exception of once a day, and look at the local news and see what's going on around me. And of course, as more test kits get out there, uh, the, the people that have this virus, we're going to know about it. We're going to know about it. The numbers are going to go up. Don't panic. What you want to pay close attention to is the survival rate that's going on and who's most at risk. Now, here in the DFW area, and let me say this right now, we have in critical condition a 20-year-old or a person in their 20s and also a 30-year-old. Now, that's incredible. That's incredible. So realize that, you know, they come up and said, hey, the millennials are going to have to pitch in. They're the ones that are going to save us. Now, let me tell you, that's like Bernie Sanders expecting the millennials to show up again and vote for him again as the Democrats knock his knees out from underneath him once again. you If we're depending on them, and let me tell you, it's not their fault that they are the way they are. We've pampered them. We've let these things and tablets and computers run their lives. And the sheer lack of discipline in this country for our young people, that's on us. That's on us. If they're out there partying on the beaches in Florida and doing all that stuff, I mean, I like to party as much as the next person. I love a good time. But, we're all in this together. If you got a kid out there misbehaving, I suggest you talk to them. Whether they listen or not, that's another story. We've made them the way they are. And our school systems have made them the way they are. We can't blame them because they may be self-centered and just don't give a damn. So, yeah. And Lori, thank you. I can see the chat board here. Thank you. I'm doing better. My speech is still messed up because I still have dissolving stitches, but maybe it will get better. Who knows? But what we plan to do here in the future, while everybody's quarantined, or to a certain amount, you're quarantined. When they tell people to quarantine in place, there's really nobody watching them. There's nobody making them quarantine in place. So, whether they go outside the house or whatever they do, we don't know. We don't know. We don't know who's who. But for us bikers, what we plan on doing, and we don't have to gather up in a crowd. But I think here in a few weeks, when everybody's got cabin fever, we're going to do what we call a Corona ride. Get out of the house. We'll pick a destination, just ride out there. We don't have to stop. We don't have to meet. We don't have to shake hands. We don't have to kiss each other. I will do the Wuhan shake, though. You know what that is, where you're touching each foot. Matter of fact is, we did that at our club meeting here the other day. We had quite the time with it. It was fun. So that's what we plan on doing. We're going to do a ride somewhere. We're going to pick a cool destination, and we're just going to ride out there and maybe ride back and then split up. And I think that would be pretty cool. And I understand that I got one. Let me see, who is that? Desert Goat. He's talking about when he was born in the 80s. His childhood was easy. Grew up on a farm, so we learned how to work hard. I was a middle class kid, a city kid. Grew up here in the suburbs of Dallas, and we were mostly bored. weren't really bad. We were just bored, and so uh, we got into mischief all the time. We loved for somebody to chase us. That was our big thing. Oh yeah, whether we were on foot, whether we were on our little motorcycles, and there was a group of us that ran together. I had a Mustang motorcycle, and anybody that knows about those, you can look it up on the internet. They were built in California, sold at the Cushman houses. Yeah. For my new one, I paid $678, I think it was. Yeah. So that was great fun, great times, and you know, not that my work was all that hard. I did have some things happen along the way that made things hard for myself, but we won't talk about that right now. I'll do that at a later date. But when I went into the Navy, all of a sudden I started figuring everything out when I went into the military. And from almost from the time I was a young guy, I knew where I was headed in that respect. I knew I was going into the military, and I was proud to do it. But millennials nowadays, Generation Z, they're not forced into any of that. We're lucky to have the uh, the young guys and gals that go into the military who feel that calling and are ready to defend our country. Now, like I said, you can't blame them. We made them the way they are, and I'm probably as bad as anybody else with my grandkids. I love them to death, but I can listen to them talk now, and I can tell. I can tell. But so anyway, yeah, we got this virus going on. We got all these things. Some events are being canceled out there, and so we will put a list together as best we can on when we do it the next radio show, number 391, I think it is, and we'll put a list together and make some announcements on what groups are not going to be having their yearly events at this time of year. And that's probably the wise thing to do rather than help the spread of this disease. I mean, if you pay attention, like I said, I turn on the news about once a day, the local news, to see what's going on near me, and that's how I found out about the 20-year-old, the person in their 20s and the person in their 30s that are in critical condition here in the DFW area. So uh, you might pass that on to your little millennials. I have a problem with L's right now, but anyway, um, and man, and it couldn't be at a worse time because I have allergies like crazy. Each each time, summer and fall, when the seasons change, uh, runny nose, itchy eyes, sometimes a cough, and just goes on and on and on. And I mean, um, according to the CDC, they're asking you to go to um, call your doctor if you have a. a I just got a mail for email from OG, not an email message. We were talking earlier. I got this video that you can solve all your problems with a hair dryer. They say the coronavirus has problems with heat, and so you've got to get you're up in this area right here. You got to get that above 133 degrees. Now, I've sent that video off uh, to the CDC. We'll see what they have to say about it. Kind of interesting. It's the video is well put together. It's convincing, but I just don't know. When somebody throws that kind of stuff out there, and all kinds of conspiracy theories are out there, and I'm not a big conspiracy theory guy. Matter of fact, I kind of hate those. I had one. Hey, we're going to have martial law in the next 24 hours. Really? So I don't know. We could have martial law at some point, especially if the kids don't get off the beach and start taking part. But I see our community, our motorcycle community, they're doing the right thing. They're doing the right thing. And Mindy, thank your son for his service. Thank you very much. Thank him very much. But wow, the panic out there, the panic, and it's all media driven. If you listen to the news media during these press conferences, that the president with all these scientists and people behind him, and the questions the media ask, I mean, just plain ass stupid. And in many cases, they have to answer the same question over and over and over again. Follow up. Bullshit. Have a logical question that's informative to me, not a trap question designed to put somebody on the hook, whether it's the president or one of those things. And I hate it when they come on and they start saying, hey, look, we got to have this. So at first it was test kits. Well, now we've got the mobile things and test kits going out there, and the test kits aren't for everybody. If you got allergies like I do, I shouldn't be running down saying I've got the coronavirus. Test me. There are people right now ahead of me. I don't have the symptoms, so there are people ahead of me that need these tests. If I feel I need it, I'll make some moves. But like I said, it's hard, really hard to quarantine without having to get out and get something, whether it's gas, whether it's something you need to cook with or something to cook. And there's still plenty of stuff out there. So people ran out there and started hoarding and carrying on, buying toilet paper. Now they say that is, what did they say? That is iconic for people to run out and buy toilet paper. It's a sign that the society has lost control, or the individual has lost control. So he goes out there and just buys. And I'm not going to say it, just I'll be accused of racist, but there are some ethnic groups that are worse hoarders than others. Not going to say who it is. I'm just pointing that out. You can go to the store and figure it out for yourself. But it's the truth. It's I don't want to say it's funny because this is dangerous, but the way people are behaving. This virus has basically turned a good many of Americans into morons. There's nothing wrong with our food supply chain if we give them a chance. I'm telling you right now, the trucking companies are hiring. They can't get the food out there fast enough. And also, we can't produce the test kits fast enough for 350 million people. over 350 million. We just can't get that stuff out fast enough. Now, then they jump from test kits to respirators. Respirators. Now, you know what a respirator is? That's the mask you put over your face, the mask. So everybody jumped on Amazon, everybody jumped on this, jumped on that, go to the store, start buying them all up. So now we find out, first responders, everybody got to have respirator. The media just latches onto it and they go over and over and over and over again, sending everybody into a panic, knowing what they're doing. Now they're on to ventilators, over and over and over again. We don't have enough. Of course, we don't have enough. Nobody had planned for this. Not the great Obama, not anybody. Nobody had planned for this. So in case you don't know what a ventilator is, you go into a hospital and somebody's got an oxygen mask on. That's a ventilator, and oxygen is being pumped into them. Sometimes they can breathe on their own. Sometimes the ventilator is doing it for them. That's the ventilator. Do we have enough for 350 million people? Hell no, we don't. It's stupid. Nobody was prepared for this, but they're trying to do as good as they can to get this stuff up online. Will they ever have 350 million ventilators? Hell no, they won't. By the time they got that many in hand and manufactured, the virus will be over. So let's not everybody panic and just do what the CDC asks. Social distancing. And none of the stores were doing that yesterday. They damn sure weren't at Sam's. They damn sure weren't at Costco. Today is a little bit better at Costco. I hadn't been to Sam's. And okay, I go out and look at this stuff. And it's a damn good thing they closed our mall down because they didn't have hand sanitizer stations. They didn't have anything. But the big thing they lacked was customers. Oh, yeah. Didn't have a lot of customers. So you could go inside there and do your social distancing real easy. Oh, yeah. But I can tell you one thing, I'm proud of our community. I'm proud of the biker community. I'm proud of these clubs, the way they're behaving. And on our show, we don't ever talk about too many clubs, and we damn sure don't talk about the differences they have with each other. What we do is we hope and pray that they can work out their differences. That's what we do. And we're all about the Constitution. That's what we do, our club. And those who've had their constitutional rights violated. When this virus is over, and probably before it's over, there's going to be more trials. There's going to be more stuff going on where the bikers' constitutional rights are being violated. And that is still going on. Right now, everybody's preoccupied with this virus, and they should be. But there will be a point where this is gone, and we've got to continue our work. We've got to continue our work. And that's what I'm doing here in the office today. I'm going over some things. I'm going over our videos. We're still asking everybody to go to the front page of TexasBikerRadio.org and check and see if you're in a gang database here in Texas. And I suggest you do that in the state you're in, you guys that are outside of Texas, and girls. Make sure you haven't been inadvertently put into a gang database by some cop on top of a building taking pictures of your bike, of you, or whoever else, however else they do it, and put you into a gang database as a known associate. Now, that would include your wife, that would include your spouse, man or woman, and your parents. If you live in your parents' basement or you frequent your parents' house, guess what? They could end up in a damn gang database as a known associate. We need to know those kind of things, and you need to know it too. And when you find this kind of stuff out, you let us know about it. GunbarrelTX@gmail.com. That's GUNBARRELTX, gunbarrel@gmail.com. Don't be afraid that you're going to be put into a gang database because you check to see if you're in it. If we find out that's going on, that's just more ammunition. And it's cause for a class action suit. And we're not afraid to do it. All right, I need to get back to work other than talking. I got plenty to do here. There's plenty of things to go over, and I've got a lot of reading to do. Just thought I'd drop by and just, say, give you a thumbs up, a job well done. And, there are probably some things we can do for our communities where people are running on hard times, where people are laid off and may lose their jobs, businesses that may sink. And that's the reason I'm telling you to frequent any of these places that are depending on their drive-throughs, that are depending on their takeout meals to make it through this thing. Frequent those businesses at least a couple of times a week so we can get back on our feet quicker and help our fellow man out. Bikers or no. Because I know the bikers have the biggest hearts of all. And that's the truth. That's the truth. Oh, look, there's Aaron, an AC man. Man, I need you. I've got my ACs out here at the house. And it's starting to get hot. Now, it's cool here in the studio. I got air conditioning in the studio. That's the reason I'm out here working. Besides that, my wife wants me to go somewhere every 5 minutes. Now, I am. Oh, listen to this, everybody. One more thing. And millennials, listen up. There are millions of people. And as everybody knows, I just had cancer surgery here on my neck. Actually, they cut a piece of my tongue out. There are millions of people out there that are fighting cancer right now. Millions. And their immune systems, especially those on chemo, are compromised. Now, that can be children, that can be young adults, that can be people in their 30s, 40s, 50s, 60s, on up. Their immune systems are compromised. And take note of that. Again, there are many children fighting cancer. And for you to put them at risk and not at least do the minimum of what they're asking you to do, which is social distancing, not going around crowds over 10 people. These are things you can do, and it's real. I mean, think about that. Think about that. And there are many people fighting other illnesses that have compromised immune systems. Doesn't have to be the older generation. You can think, well, I can get rid of an old fogey like you. You've lived a good life. It's time for you to move on. You know what? I love the things I do. I love my motorcycle. I love my club. And I love my family. I'm not ready to go anywhere. And you shouldn't be wishing that off on anybody, no matter what age you might be. And whether you're the media that's out there cheerleading, cheerleading for this virus and the downturn in our economy. Shame on them. Shame on politicians that are doing the same thing. Shame on them. It's time for them to. It's time for them to move on, find something else to do other than wreck our economy. And this is what's going on right now is no fault of anyone. Not in this country. Not in this country. We're trying to save ourselves. With that, everybody, have a great evening. Watch for our next radio show. OG and I will be announcing stuff. Like I said, events that are being canceled. And ride safe, everybody. Get out in the fresh air. You got cabin fever? Just go take a ride. Ride safe. Bye bye.